बिगड़ी बात बना देती है, बिगड़ी बात बना देती है। राम नाम दो अक्षर, राम नाम के दो अक्षर से तैर गए हैं पत्थर। बिगड़ी बात बना देती है, राम नाम दो अक्षर, राम नाम के दो अक्षर से तैर गए हैं पत्थर। जय जय राम, 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 जय जय राम। एक शब्द में कितना सुख है, राम में रम कर देखो। एक शब्द में कितना सुख है, राम में रम कर देखो। सब देखोगे अंतर मन में, राम को क्षण भर देखो। सब में राम ही राम समाए। सहना भवतु, सहनौ भुनक्तु, सह वीर्यं करवावहै, तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। We were studying the law of causation. In the law of causation, we learned that everything in this world functions on cause and effect. Every single field. The study of these various fields, or where this causation functions, is known as
Science.
science. Well, is known as science. When the science where you turn that gaze towards the individual and figure out the laws with reference to the individual, that science is known as what happened? That science is known as, very good, Alagappa. Let's see if anybody else, so many comments. Yes, correct, Alagappa.
that science is known as Vedanta. So what is the role of science? The role of science is to find the cause and effect in all these things that happen in the world. How is water made? Mm, all the hundreds and thousands of laws. How does a cell function? I don't that you have to ask Aparna. How does that cell function? What happens when you add 2 plus 2? All of this is in the realm of science. In the sense you see cause and effect there, but science does not delve so much into the individual uh, himself or herself, willing to find out new laws. Um, well, yeah, correct. To find out new laws means they're new to us. To make new discoveries of the laws that exist, that is also within the realm of science. The law is not new, the law is old. We just happen to find it out. So, uh, when people are going out in the world and sort of doing all this thing about the laws of economics or the laws of biology or physics or chemistry, whatever laws there are in this world, science job is to find out those. Momita, would it be incorrect to call it philosophy? Uh, yeah, you could call it philosophy, I guess. You could have said psychology, you could have said philosophy. But all of that is included in the word Vedanta. Vedanta deals with the mind as well as what exists beyond the mind. So Vedanta would suffice. But yes, you wouldn't be wrong. And also we have to do little advertising for our own subject. So our loyalty to our subject must shine for. But yes, you're right. Philosophy, you can say, and psychology also, you can say. Vedanta covers the whole thing because neither philosophy nor psychology are going into what we are currently going into, which is law of karma and destiny. This is a very, very Indian sort of view of it. So all these laws, when they're pertaining to the world, they are known as science. And then when they're pertaining to the individual, they are Vedanta. And in Vedanta, we're doing 2 laws this time, the law of destiny and the law of karma. So we started law of destiny. There is one exception. Everything in this world is bound by all these laws. The only thing that is not bound by these laws is
Self.
the self. Very good. So now, how is it functioning within the individual, that is destiny? So every individual is made up of his vasanas, thoughts, desires, and actions. And his whole world, his whole chakra is in this much. Because this will determine what happens in the external world. This will determine what happens in the internal world for that individual. And this is the determiner of what he sees, how he behaves, what he thinks. The whole chakra lies in this thing, his vasanas, his thoughts, his desires, and actions. So, therefore, in this lies all the cause and effect that pertains to the human being. Now, what has happened so far? In the past, we have performed certain actions. Right? It's a chakra, it's a wheel, it goes on, it's not stopping. Even now, you're performing an action. Either you're sitting down and listening carefully to what is happening in class, or you are washing dishes while listening, or whatever. You see, why do you need to sit down and listen to the class? Why do you need to switch off from everything else and listen to the class? What is the need for that? I mean, one obvious need is that because you have to pay attention to what is happening in the class. But there are so many other things that are happening. If you're not able to sit down for 1 hour quietly and focus on one thing, how on earth are you going to do it anywhere else in life? Just the art of sitting down and paying attention to one thing. In the morning, when you study, of course, you're learning Vedanta, but you're learning the art of sitting down by yourself and just thinking for yourself. So, while you're doing what is your Vedantic, what are the rules, if you want to call it that, so many different things are happening at the same time. It's not just that which you are told is happening. So many other things are happening. If you don't know how to sit for 1 hour, later on when you reach the stage of meditation, how will you sit and meditate? So every part of it, that's why from the beginning of the sadhana, you're made to do yoga, hatha yoga. You're made to do it. Because imagine now if you are on the verge of meditation, but your body doesn't know how to sit for 1 hour. Then you're about to realize and you go missed realization because you didn't do yoga then. So it's a very well constructed whole. And as you do your sadhana, you'll begin to see its various parts falling into place. So now, as you do this, you begin to see, slowly you begin to see, it will dawn on you, how all these vasanas, thoughts, desires, actions are actually your world. So, what has happened so far? You have done something in the past. That something, all of it put together, has resulted in this moment now. Now also you're free to do things. Now also you will do things. Everything you do is getting registered in your vasanas. Every single thing you do. And then these vasanas would then again manifest into your thoughts, desires, actions, and world. You can fool everybody. Suppose you are saying, oh, I'm doing so much good work, I'm doing so much karma yoga, I am giving so much money in charity. Let us say you say that. But if you're giving out money and charity with the sole intention of making your own name famous, your vasanas are not seeing that you're giving money out in charity. Your vasanas are developing for means you're developing your ego basically. So it's a system which you cannot fool. You can fool the rest of the world. How do you fool your own soul? The things all being recorded, not merely recorded. It is being imprinted upon us so that every future action will go in that direction. So it's a really frightening thing. If you're imprinting laziness on yourself, that is what the future will hold. If you're imprinting escalation on yourself, that is what the future. You know how people escalate? Suppose two people have a disagreement about something. Not one of them will take a step back and de-escalate. They will escalate it. So suppose you're on the road and somebody overtakes you. Then you get into tremendous rage. And then you try to overtake that person. That person also says, Baba, Shama karo, jao. He will not say. He will also escalate it further. Like this, you keep doing all the time. Somebody talks to you of X problem, you will bring in X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D. Escalate, escalate, escalate. That is not going to harmonize you with anybody, right? So what is going to happen in the future? All your relationships are going to be. That's why they say now that okay, you can. I want to divorce my husband. Okay, divorce. But if you have not solved the problem that you're facing in this marriage, you will face the same thing in the next one. No, I will never get married. Then you will face it with your dudwala. Because it's your nature now. You know, many people come to me with their marital problems, and some people also say, why do you waste your time worrying about people's marital problems? Because if you that problem, whatever your problem is only a manifestation of
Your ego.
Your vasanas. So, in the process of self development, you have to attend to it. What else can you do? No, I will simply leave my partner. Okay, leave. But those vasanas will continue the way they are. And we don't recognize this. We seem to not realize that every event in life is an opportunity for me to dissolve my vasanas. I use it as a way of, wow, wow, what wonderful vasanas I have. Let me develop and grow them. We are going in the wrong direction. So wrong. Because this vasana, which is being recorded, the more you go into that, what is going to happen? The more you repeat it, what is going to happen?
Agitations will increase.
Okay, agitation, what else?
You will
The same
accumulate.
situation comes up frequently.
You will make it more and more difficult to be controlled. It's like you're tying yourself with a string. Correct, Aruna? It gets established. You tie yourself with one string. Now, instead of realizing you're tying yourself, what do? You tie again and again and again and again. You will bring yourself to a position where it will be next to impossible for you to break it. And that's why people struggle. That's just say, no, though you're saying this, I can't do this. I can't do this means what? Why can't you do it? Just do it. No, I can't. Because I've tied myself up so badly, there's no release from here now. This becomes my destiny. If I don't understand this, every action I take from now on is just going to make things worse. This is, the law of destiny and the law of karma are not merely theoretical concepts. This is our life going on. So the constitution of each human being is a cumulative effect of his past thoughts, desires, and actions. Such an innocuous statement, so simple it is. If I ask you to fill in the blanks, you fill in the blanks. But it doesn't occur to me that I am writing out my destiny every moment with the thoughts, desires, and actions which I am encouraging. Whether they are anger, whether they are escalation, whether they are greed, whether they are laziness, whether they are addictions, I am just making things worse for myself. Yeah, Deepanj?
Yeah, so this vasana gets entrenched when we interact with the object through the mind, not through the intellect. If we interact with it through the intellect, the vasana slowly, it is under
Yes,
control.
yes. If you
So
contact it correctly, correct.
contact it correctly. So say somebody, the contact, whatever it is still coming from the vasana.
Mhm.
The intellect is contacting because there is a vasana for it. So one recognizes that one has a vasana for object X, and he interacts with it through the intellect. Now, why is it when he interacts with it through the intellect, the vasana diminishes because he's still interacting with the object?
The way to diminish the vasana is through contact, right? If you have a desire, how do you get rid of the desire? By contacting the object. So that is the way. It's like to illustrate it means how do you get rid of the sewage from your house? You put a pipe and it goes out. That is the way it goes out. That's the methodology. Now the problem is you've gone and blocked that pipe. So it's coming back in. So, and it's just, instead of that pipe helping clear it all out, it is messing up the house further.
Yes, so that's the technical way of looking at it. But let us talk about the example that you used previously, where this person is now thinking of divorcing Now it's mostly because that person is so agitated, he thinks that if he detaches from it and he attaches to somebody else, that agitation will somehow go away. But say he's using his intellect, and his intellect previously it was not developed enough. So he thought that this person is right for me. With this previous intellect, he's decided. But now that he has understood that, okay, I have this needs and this person is not meeting it. So now if he moves on, now because he's making this decision with his intellect, now he won't have the problem in the next relationship. Is it correct?
No, no. His first step will have to be, what am I doing wrong? Because marriage is meant to purify our personality, right? So when you get married to somebody, there is a natural clash, obviously, because now two sets of desires coexist. And these two sets, by definition, can never be the same. Right? So I have to figure out what is it I'm doing wrong. And once I figured that out and I'm in control of that, then I can go to a next relationship if this is not a correct one. But there is no question of leaving until I've sorted myself. Because the next one will have the same problem. Same problem means what? What is the base problem? The base problem in a relationship is I am using you as a tool to keep myself happy. Now, when you start human beings treating human beings like that, it doesn't work. And I have to get out of that thing. That is when people become either clingy or domineering. See, there are two types, right? One type of person will cling on to the other, trying to make him or her do whatever she wants or he wants. The other one is a domineering. I'm going to dominate over you and make you do whatever I want. But in both cases, this is what I'm trying, whether it's out of my clinginess or out of my domineering nature. Both cases won't work. If you go to the next relationship and you try this stunt again, you'll be in the same position. Sometimes you happen to be associated with a person who is actually detrimental to you. So then you need to know that, here, what is it I am supposed to do? I'm supposed to at least firstly understand that it is detrimental. That person is not working in the welfare of the relationship. And understand it correctly. Like hundreds of things, your intellect has to work out. Am I wrong? Is the other person wrong? What is the real problem here? And let me tell you one thing, Deepraj, 40 years I've been talking to people about their marriages. 40 years have gone. I think I have a little bit of experience in this. I have found 9 out of 10 marriages have nothing wrong with it. Nothing. If it be true that there was something, that some people say, oh, we are incompatible, some people say, all sorts of reasons they come up with. And if any of that is true, okay, whatever reasons these people came up with, then how come after some time they are happy and contented? What happened to that incompatibility? What happened to that, oh, he's so horrible, she's so horrible? What happened to all these things? So many, I mean, without mentioning names, many people are there in class also. Because one was, I'm telling so many stories. What's the point of it? Bottom line is you don't contact it properly. So you stay agitated. So your desire is not fulfilled. So it's stagnating inside you. You contact it properly. Your desire is fulfilled. The matter is like, how do you know you've contacted a person properly in your life is when the separation happens. So the separation has to happen. It's a question of time. You are able to leave when the person leaves you. You're able to take that in your stride. It's not that you're not unhappy, but you're already fulfilled. In society also we know this, right? Suppose a young girl loses her husband at 25. and somebody loses their husband at 85, who will you feel more bad? You feel bad for the 25-year-old, right? Because, oh my God, right in the beginning. At 85, you are expecting this person has become little more shant and is able to take such losses. It's a big loss when you're 85 also, because now you've been at 50, 60 years with this person. But if you have dealt with it properly, then you're fulfilled of that thing. But if you've not dealt with it properly, then you will be miserable through the whole relationship and at the end of it. So you have to contact it correctly. The entire contact has to be correct.
Thank you.
Mamita, the example also serves the other way. I have a vasana to be dependent, so de-escalate, but not to grow. I just want to avoid. That would be creating a bad cause too. Yes, correct, Mamita. That would be correct. That would be creating a bad cause too. This is where intellect comes in, right? Because in class, how many types of examples can anyone give after all? At some point, you have to figure out that what exactly is the problem I have to figure out. And then we have so many wrong notions. We have so many wrong notions. We think that if our partner is independent of us, we are somehow damaged because of it. We don't get it. When our partner is independent of us, we will enjoy more. No, we don't get it. Everything is wrong. Where to go with this wrong notion?
So basically, we should be looking at every such challenge as a potential for our personal growth, not as something which will continue forever. Or the problem begins with self-pity, I think.
Problem begins in ignorance always. I'm not identifying the cause properly. So when I don't identify the cause properly, then I will identify it wrongly. So one of them can be self-pity. I feel so victimized by everything. I feel the world is so bad. I think that person is so bad. 9 out of 10 times, the people we are dealing with are not bad. There are very few great people in this world. And similarly, there are very few evil people in this world. The rest of us are in the middle somewhere.
Yes, but both people in a relationship tend to blame each other also and want to stay together also. That is the weird thing about especially marriages.
Attachment.
Yeah.
In Marathi,
At least if it is such a problem, at least one of them should happily leave. But that doesn't happen.
That is attachment.
Yeah.
It is the attachment which is causing all the problem. And y'all are, I mean, if the two parties are escabulating the attachment, it's just going to get worse. And so, but someone tells you about detachment over there, then you say, oh my God, I'm going to lose the relationship. As if you have it right now, it's a funny thing. If somebody tells you, let your partner be independent, say, no. You're trying to break my relationship. No. We feel that only when my partner is dependent on me, the relationship will work. Okay, great. Your partner is dependent on you. Is your relationship working? No. Why don't you try the other way? So, yes, it has to start with an intellect. You identify the cause and then we can cure the cause. But if the cause is unidentified, now what to do?
Also, Janki, we are looking for answers from everybody around us. So, and everybody is happily giving their examples. So we tend to make matters worse. Instead of wondering about our problem, we now think, what am I doing wrong? Who's to blame? We get into all that.
Yes. It all begins in ignorance. So you have to start by using the intellect. Now, when in Vedanta we say use your intellect, then people say, oh, your intellect has come again. What can you do? What other solution do you have? You can't. How can you make a list of all the possible misunderstandings that can come and what you're going to do about each one of them? Instead of that, why not just develop the intellect instead of now how many different ways people can do it wrong? Basically, it's two ways you can do it wrong. You can either be passive or aggressive. Only two things. Either you go all out and become aggressive, starts hitting and beating and shouting and screaming, or you become passive and start crying and weeping and sobbing. Both of these are not going to help. And some people, of course, do both. So, so I hope you are all in tune with the original thought that we are repeating our negative behavior patterns and then strengthening them and then doing more and more of that. And then my life just becomes the same problem over and over again. Which is a real pity because you have the capacity to have so many different, nice, unusual problems. Why are you doing the same problem again and again? The infinite possibility of problems, try them all. It's a buffet, in this world, you get a buffet of problems. Try all of them. ये भी try करते हैं, वो भी try करते हैं. Same problem. वही रोटी, वही दाल, हर दिन कुछ नया तो try करो. Gayatri Murthy, does hereditary have a role in our thought processes? Hereditary has a role in our thought processes to the extent that our intellect is absent. Intellect is our capacity to review. So when we don't review, what happens is whatever has been coming from the past simply continues. So yes, does hereditary have a role in our thought processes? Yes, when the intellect is not available, two things play, either hereditary or your own mind. So either you do what you feel like it, or you do what you have been taught by your parents to do, or parents, peer group, the whole lot. Ravi Chabra, how does one strike a compromise? Strike a compromise between what?
No, my question is that when the perspective of looking at a problem is different from one partner to other partner, and then how do you handle that?
Always put yourself in the other person's position. The person is asking how does one strike a compromise. That means a compromise is not instinctively happening, which means that there's some blockage for which you have to put yourself in the other person's position and say, what am I not getting about your point of view? When we don't look at things differently, we get deadlocked. I know one couple where one of the partners is always interested in going and discussing with the other partner. And that person can go on and on and on talking, with the other person is not even listening. They're driving the other person insane, but no, continue talking. And if you tell her, don't go and express your point of view, the other person is not listening, is not interested. What we don't get, Stephen Covey used to put it very well. He said, seek to understand before you seek to be understood. All the time, I want you to understand me. But why am I not understanding you? And if I understand you, what need is there for you to understand me? I will automatically do whatever it needs to be done to get whatever it is I need to get. So how does one strike a compromise? By understanding where is the other person coming from. It is the essence of unselfishness, that I understand things from your perspective. Now, this will help you in everything. If you want to sell something, you can't go to somebody and tell them, I want you to buy it. That person will shoo you away. Won't you do that? A salesman comes to you and tries to sell you something. You will shoo him away. But if he comes to you, providing something that you want, he doesn't need to sell it to you. But all he has done so far is figured out what it is you want. Some of these salesmen, they are brilliant. You should watch. When you go to the shop, you watch how they deal with you. The way they'll tell you, Madam, ये कितना अच्छा दिखता है यहाँ पर. How they'll talk to you. Then you say, नहीं नहीं ये बहुत expensive है. And you say, Madam, पर दिखता भी है ना, इतना expensive है. Double price का दिखता है. So all your triggers he's getting. That you want to look richer than you are. That you want to look prettier than you are. All the triggers he's got. And he'll play on you. He is not even telling you to buy. So मैं नहीं कहता ले लो. आपको नहीं लेना तो मत ले लो. So much he'll show you that he's not interested in selling it to you. You know, see how beautifully he plays on your psychology. It's fantastic. I love to see these guys. I'm quite fascinated when I see them operate.
जानकी जी
हाँ.
ऐसा एक रिक्रूट करो ना
What?
हमारे ऐसा आदमी रिक्रूट करो हमारे यूनिवर्सिटी के लिए.
I know. Yes, we should. But I'm telling you all, hopefully you'll all be like that. All become capable of seeing another person's point of view. When you go in for negotiation, you know what that person wants. And you work from there to come to where you want. So, how does one strike a compromise? The first thing is get out of your own skin. Ask the other or find out in whatever way, what do you want? I don't know if you heard that story, very famous story there was a long time ago about who is this? Some Lancelot, I think Lancelot. Story these people make. Lancelot, you know, Sir Lancelot, right? Anyone's familiar with this story? Sir Lancelot, he goes on some crusade somewhere, whatever, he's going to do something. And then he there's a very wicked witch or something, and then he has to fight that wicked witch and win the castle. So when he goes over there, then he fights the wicked witch and then he captures her. And then when he captures her, she becomes a very beautiful woman. Okay. And she says that you can live here with me. Now you've captured me. You can live here with me. So, so I'll give you a choice. I can either be a very beautiful woman at night, or I can be a very beautiful woman in the daytime. So in the daytime, I'm a beautiful woman. All your friends will say, "Oh my God, look what a beautiful wife he's got." Right? But then at night, I'm going to be a witch. Or I'll be a witch in the daytime. I mean, I'll be ugly and horrible in the daytime. And in the nighttime, I will be a very pretty woman. So you tell me what you want. So what do you think Lancelot should say? I don't know. If you heard this story before, then you are not allowed to answer. Have you heard? What will you say? How will you choose? Your partner with you is very beautiful or a witch, and his outside is very beautiful or a witch. Which one will you choose? Okay, so then the whole world, Aruna, will think that your partner is ugly and horrible and witch-like. Which one will you choose?
Difficult answer is difficult.
Answer is difficult. But Lancelot was a very smart man and he answered that question.
First answer. Your first answer.
What?
Pretty woman in the night.
Pretty woman in the night. Okay. All right. Then you have to deal
But in the night,
with everybody during the day.
But he'll be asleep in the night also.
Yes. So then you have to decide which one you want. Okay. So I'll tell you what Lancelot said. Anybody has any answers?
I guess I'll find you beautiful anyway. However
Find her
you are.
beautiful even when she's a witch. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I love your soul more than your body.
Oh, okay, very nice, Mahesh. This is the reason you are still unmarried. You get married and then you talk like that. Let us see. So,
Jankiji, he should not concern about others' opinion. What he likes, that is the best option.
see, now you know what all this discussion proves.
All are married.
No, it proves that nobody has been listening so far to the class. What is the point? Why did Lancelot come into the picture? What is the point we were discussing? Just heard a story and chalo, nice fairy tale time. What is
To
the
understand
point?
the other person's point of view, to reduce conflict.
Very good. So now what will you do?
Ask
What
her.
is her choice? He should ask for her choice.
Very good. Ask her, what do you want? So then the story goes. So that's what he did. Sir Lancelot, because he's a brave, gallant knight, he asked her, what would you like? To which she said, in that case, I will be pretty broke both times. So he had a pretty.
That's cheating. You're supposed to answer it.
No, that is the moral of the story, Mahesh. Yes, Aruna?
Hello, can you hear me?
Can't
I
hear
think
you.
this is really interesting because there's a program called Couples Therapy. I don't know if you've ever watched it. And there's a lady there, the therapist. They're talking about a problem, and somebody says, "Oh, this and this happens. What should I do?" Expecting the therapist to answer. And I was really surprised because then she turned to the other person and she said, well, shall we find out? Shall we ask? And I thought, wow, I was expecting there to be a right answer, but it wasn't. It was ask the other person. And I thought that was amazing. So I thought I'd just share that with you. Yeah.
Everything that's doing it right will have the same things. That is why I say study Vedanta. Because if it is right, anybody who says the right thing, Vedanta would have covered it. And if it is wrong, yes. And if it is wrong, then you find something else which is right. But do one thing.
Yes, yeah.
One thing will tell you everything.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
So, where were we? You all remember, no, what we are discussing, because you all seem to have got quite interested in Lancelot and stories. So, what is the point over here? That our base point is whatever wrong attitudes you have will simply get repeated, and therefore life will get repeated because you're not converting that. The question we were on is, how do you compromise? How do you compromise is by understanding the stance from the other person's point of view. Is that fine? Ravi Chabran? Or have I missed?
Yes, I had mentioned this in my chat also.
Okay.
If you have a look at it.
Okay. But is it fine? I mean, you're fine with the answer, right? Tinky.
No, I'm not very clear. Would you mind repeating, please, if you don't mind?
No, I thought you said the same thing in the chat. At times, reasoning does not help.
in the chat,
person keeps on bringing up issues of the past. Reasoning does not help.
Exactly.
Abraham Maslow says, he who has a hammer sees everything as a nail. If reasoning is not helping, but you're going on using reasoning, it's because you're not stopping to ask, what tool does the other person want me to use, if any? So put yourself in the other person's position, like how Lancelot told his wife, or not his wife, whatever she was of his, and said, what would you like? She gave him a choice. I'll either be a witch in the day and pretty at night, or I'll be pretty during the day or a witch at night. You tell me which one you want. To which he was smart enough to say, you please do as you like. What would you like? We simply cannot step out of our own personalities. And that is why that same situation repeats itself. You better learn to do that. That's why I gave you the example. Whether you want to sell, whether you want to negotiate, whether you want to have a relationship, 3 examples were given. You have to put yourself in the other person's feet, in the other person's shoes. Look at it from that person's point of view, and then come up with a solution. If you know reasoning does not help, do not use it. Ask yourself, what will help? Or ask that person, what will help? What would you like me to do? Which are nothing but misunderstanding. I think that's all you
So that is in continuation of what I written.
Yeah, okay. So answer to your question is, step in the other person's shoes. Do not start from your own point of view. Cannot compromise until you know what the other person wants. How is that even possible? What is your compromise? Then what else? Stinky. Wait, have I? What if the friend, parent, child, or partner has unreasonable expectations? That's why so life, if you find that, then life is teaching you how to draw boundaries. Whatever, if you're too passive, you will be beaten up until you learn to stand on your own feet. If you don't know how to have boundaries, you'll be beaten up until you learn to have boundaries. If you don't know how to say no, you'll be beaten up till you learn how to say no. If you don't know how to say sorry, you'll be beaten up till you learn to say sorry. We'll go on and on and on, repeating whatever wrong thing we are doing until we learn it right.
So
Like any classroom.
We actually do draw boundaries, or we do try to draw boundaries. But then sometimes, the other person feels hurt, or they feel, okay, you don't care about me, or they use some form of emotional blackmail. And then that also we see through, and we say, see, this is how it is. This is how much I can take, or how much I can do. And sometimes, you need to help yourself. I have noticed this a lot. With God's grace, I had elderly parents. I still have an elderly mother. And it was never the men, it's always the ladies who use some sort of. And then, you're like, oh God, now, up to a point, and after that, what, you also need to be at peace. And then there is that creates little ruffles or something, and, so that atmosphere gets a bit vitiated, that is the thing. So, and here again, when the person is emotional, then reasoning will not work. We try to see from their point of view. I mean, all of that one. See, I'm actually a counselor, and I've been working also with an NGO for 27 years. So we are trained and have been practicing, but it doesn't work with family because the role comes in the middle. I am the mother, I am the father, I am your sister, I am your friend. The closer relationship, they will name the role. A friend or somebody further may not, but then, it creates a kind of some sort of.
So you have to find out what is the problem. And the problem often is that we want other people to like us. This desire clashes with the desire to set a boundary. And because we are dichotomous in our own mind, that is where the problem arises. If I set a boundary and you say, oh, how dare you not do what I tell you? I don't like you anymore. Okay, fine.
Don't like, yeah.
That's it.
See, with others, one can say it's okay. But, when it's a very close, we can't just say, okay, bye, see you.
No, I'm not saying bye, see you. You are telling me you don't like me. I'm saying okay. And then I arrive next day and I do for you exactly what I was doing before. You don't like me, that's fine. I am still doing what I'm supposed to do. But I'm doing this much. I'm not saying bye to anyone. I know that I have parents, elderly people, young children, spouses, partners, everybody is like that. Not only they, we are like that. If you know somebody is giving you something for free, you will grab it with both hands. You have no skin in the game. Right? So everybody, every human mind is like that. They are like that and we are like that. Now we have to learn, okay, fine. You claim you don't like me, fine. Where is anyone going to go? We are dichotomous in our own minds. We are not willing to say, okay, you don't like me, that's fine. We want that I will say no to you, but you will understand and you will love me and you'll say, you're so beautiful for saying no. Ain't happening, buddy.
No, that we're not expecting at all.
So if
And even if that point, like if it's somebody more distant, it could be a colleague or a friend or something. And if there is that little distance created, then so be it. I mean, that's how now I've started thinking. That's how it is.
For everybody, and there's no distance created. In fact, relationships, if you treat it properly, become closer. There's no distance created. Because any fool can understand that you are actually doing more for that person. If you're doing more for me than everybody else I know, why will I create a distance with you? So service is doesn't put us in a weak spot, puts us in a very, very, what should I say, strong position. I have done more for you than anyone else. You cannot afford me to stop this service. You are going to control yourself.
So basically, we do our niyatam karma, as it's called, and then that's it, with a pure intention. How they take it is there.
Thinking of not taking anything inside at all. 27 years is blocking anything from going in further. So go back now when this class is over, listen to this bit again and see if you can get anything out of it, because otherwise I'll simply be repeating and others have heard it. So there's no point in my saying it all over again. But luckily it's recorded so you can hear it. If you keep justifying and you keep having this, oh, okay, I'll do my niyatam karma. Who told you? Did I tell you do niyatam karma? I didn't say anything. Did I tell you that you have to put up with it? I didn't say anything like that. But in your head, that is still there. So you got to figure it out and keep, you have the tools, but so you have to use them.
Yeah. So thank you.
Then there is attachment theory too in Western society. Yes. I mean, everybody, whoever's saying the right thing is saying the same thing. Whoever is saying not the right thing, they'll all have many different things. But if they're saying the right thing, then they'll be saying the right thing. You just have to figure out which according to you is right and stick with that. Okay. Mamita?
So Janki, there are two things here. One is that if I know what I want, then like the seller, shopkeeper, I will be able to work with what you want. Bring that out. But then there is the other thing where I do not think of what I want. I actually, because I do not see you as a means of fulfilling my desires. So unlike the shopkeeper who's doing all this to fulfill his desires, in relationships, I do not want, that is the confusion. Because I don't see you as a means to fulfilling my desires, and therefore I'm.
No, but you can't be hypocrite. If that be so, you'll have beautiful relationships with them. Because you're not asking for anything from anyone. But you can't be hypocritical about that, right? Either you have a need or you don't have a need. If you don't have a need, you're cool. You're like Krishna. You can get along with anyone.
No, I do have a need, but then
you can't take the stance, I don't have a need.
Then how do we address this? Because we said that the base problem in relationships is seeing the other as a means of fulfilling my desires. So then I'm objectifying the person.
Yes, you're right. What it means is that when you approach a relationship from a selfish perspective, okay, I want Momita to jump through hoops. But she's not jumping through hoops. I'm getting very irritated. Suppose I go to Momita and I say, Momita, if you jump through hoops for me, then I will do the trapeze for you. Right? And you want the trapeze done. I'm assuming you want the trapeze done. Then there's some hope of this thing happening. But if I don't know what I want, I don't know what you want, and I'm simply like a child, the child goes to a shop window and grabs. There's no thinking at all. If the child sees some pretty fire, it'll go and grab it. There's no thinking. It's a hot iron. There's no thinking. Go and grab it. So that instinct, that childish instinct in us to grab immediately what is not immediately available. Like there's a fruit on a tree, but you have to wait till it ripens. But if you don't and you pull it out, you won't have the fruit. So Ayn Rand distinguished by calling it enlightened selfishness. There is selfishness, which is a stupid, childish selfishness, and then there is enlightened selfishness, where at least you have the brains to figure out what needs to be done. Then once you do it like that, you come to a position where you are in service. Then you don't need all this stuff. These are tools to reach a position of complete service.
So I do not have to start with this respect for the other person.
Of course you have to. Otherwise, how will you stand in that person's shoes?
But I don't feel it, right? Because of my vasanas. Because I'm so. If that is what I need, that I want this person to fulfill my desires, then how does that coexist with that essential regard?
Because we are, let's say it's a husband and wife, because that's an easy example to take. We are both in this together. We are both subservient to the relationship.
To the larger one. So, okay. Yeah, because I thought
it's not larger with respect to that.
The more abstract, because then this is about.
No, the more unselfish, not abstract. This is about the relationship is more important than you and I. So it's not a fantastically high goal, but it is higher than what is currently happening. Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm still with that head and heart thing. I feel there is some like love and respect, seeing the other person not as a means of gratifying is more to do with feelings or emotions, and the other thing is more to do with reason.
Yeah, these are, if you are put the relationship above the two individuals, all these things will fall into place. Mind will love, intellect will respect. These are not mean, these are consequences of you putting the relationship above.
Okay.
So coming back to our original point, which is that if we do not locate what our fault is and correct it, we will go on repeating it, and we are locked into that destiny, as it were. So what is destiny? It's nothing but the consequences of what we have done in the past. Okay, so why am I the way I am right now? Is because in the past, I have done some things. That has made me what I am today. This is the way I think, this is the way I feel, this is the way I act, this is the world I have, because of what I have done. But today also I have the right to work, to act, to think, everything, no? So I can change this whole thing in a certain period of time. Yes, Prashant?
Ma'am, in the definition, the cumulative effect of your thoughts, desires, and action, why is vasana not coming in that?
Of course, it's coming. Vasana, thought, desire, action.
Manifested things are desire.
Yeah, so you can use that unmanifest term, or you need not, but there cannot be a thought unless there's a vasana. No? So it has to come.
So if I have thought about a certain thing, like when I was a kid, I had thought about a dinky car, that thought still exists.
Not if you've grown up.
Then how I am the cumulative effect of that now?
Because after the dinky car also you've done stuff, no? I mean, it's not frozen as that 7-year-old child. From 7 to 27 or 37, you've been doing stuff. So those things are now moved off in another direction. You're not
So thought-
exactly what you were as a child. Now you're a different person. Because you've done I mean, as a child, you were born as something, and then you kept adding or subtracting whatever you did, and come to this age.
Then thought means the current thought only, right? The earlier thoughts have changed.
Yeah, all those earlier ones have brought you to your current. This current thought which you have, now let's say I like Vedanta. Suppose that's your thought. Then this current thought is the cumulative effect of all the thoughts, feelings, actions of the past.
Right. Thank you.
Now, instead of people seeing their own efficacy in all this, their own self-efficacy, their own power in all this, what we do is put it on God, put it on planets, put it on Feng Shui, Vastu Shastra, everything in the world. Parents, friends, society, everything we will bring into the picture. Instead of simply taking responsibility that I am the way I am because I have done what I have done. The buck stops here. Nobody, no father, no mother, no grandfather, no husband, no wife, no child, nothing. The buck stops here. I am the person I am because I have done the things that I have done. Therefore, I am this person today. If I want to be the same person tomorrow, I have to simply repeat. If I want to be a different type of thing, I have to change. So simple. Isn't it? Okay. So that's it for today. We'll continue next time. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Randy.
Hari Om. Thank you. Thank you, Janki ji.
Hari Om, Jan.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.